Good morning, everyone. At least it's when this is being presented, it'll be morning in the United States. And to all of you who are participating in the VCX conference for the Middle East and Africa, we are the representatives of Theodora Ghana Virtual Assistance and its parent NGO, Theodora Africa. We've presented three times previously. We are totally honored that Ram and Deb would choose us to be one of the lead-off speakers of the program. So let's get into what we're going to talk about. The background for those of you who may be new, have not been to one of the VCX conferences, is of course the VCX conferences are all about making business education available to those who may not have access to being able to go to a school, get direct training, and whereby they will be able to get the knowledge that they need to be able to enhance their businesses and to create more economic opportunity in the places where they live. One of the reasons that they invited Theodora Africa and Theodora Ghana Virtual Assistance is that we have a unique twist on this process in that we have started from the very, very beginning to believe that you can't just do education alone, that all the training in the world is not going to help you, particularly if you are in an underdeveloped area, in an economy where things are not going as strong as, let's say, in an area like the East Asia or the North America or Europe, is that you have to have some pathway to create the jobs. That you look for the jobs and the job opportunities first, and then you do the training. Now, in our case in Theodora, Africa, we were specifically looking to work in the country of Ghana, and we were looking to help a specific disadvantaged population, women who had been either forcefully trafficked or self-trafficked, and were looking for a way out of that conundrum, that problem. So in order to be able to find those opportunities, right? We looked at virtual work. We looked at the opportunity of selling our services, not in Ghana, where bluntly there are more people with quality and experience in providing services than there is a marketplace for them, which of course drives down the prices and the earnings that people can make. But rather we look to say we could do this virtually. We could copy the virtual model that has been used very successfully in places like India and in the Philippines in order to be able to sell services where we get a much, much, much higher price. Now, there was a long process of how we took that idea and turned it into reality. And if you go back and look at the recorded presentations from our very first talk that we gave at the VC Latinx conference on, we talk about just how hard that process was. It's not something easy. But I'm going to tell you, sitting here in August of 2024, and this is roughly 4 years, we started in April of 2020, all right? So it's just a little bit over 4 years that we're sitting here and we are at a point where we are self-sufficient in terms of covering our core expenses, our labor, the cost of these participants, my partners in this, and our rent, our utilities, everything we need to be in business. In fact, we will bill clients. Okay, so we're doing work for clients, roughly in the area of $60,000 to $70,000 this year on an annualized basis. We had a total initial donation pool of money and time of roughly around 300,000. Most of that in the years of 2020, 2021, some of it spread out into 2022 and 2023. So if you are at all familiar with social benefit programs, social impact programs, charitable programs, you know that when you make a donation to somebody, most of that money, let's say if it's a good program, maybe 80% of that, 85% of that goes as benefits to those working. Some of it goes into overhead for the charitable, the NGO. However, once that money is used up, there's no other money, right? we have to go off and get more donations. You have to get more donations. With our model, we've put that 300,000 in place, all right? And every year we've been getting closer and closer, not needing any more money to the point where they are spinning off 20% of benefits. When I say benefit, I'm talking annual reoccurring benefit. That means each year, as long as they're servicing the clients, taking care of the clients, they bring in that kind of money. And in fact, the potential for growth is even greater than that. So we think that we have something to really talk to the world about. Like if you're serious about wanting to help people, serious about wanting to uplift them and to show them a way to get a better future, that this is a model that is incredibly efficient in terms of the way that it develops this kind of income. And as an added benefit for the countries we do this in, this is all new money, right? This is all brand new money that comes into the economy. All right. It's no different than somebody, building an airport and hiring a bunch of contractors, except that when you build an airport and it's done, that all goes away. And this keeps coming and bringing more income in each and every year, which these ladies all go spend on their rent, on food, transportation, clothes, all of which feeds the economy. All right. So that's where we are today. We've gone from this startup, from a concept, to we have a stable business. Anybody who would look at our past and some of our challenges as a business, and we have plenty of challenges, would say, oh, they're a normal startup business in its fourth to fifth year, okay, trying to get, put itself in place so that it can really be successful over the long term. So today we're going to talk about, our team here is going to talk about where they are right now, where they're thinking about, some of where they think we're going to go. There are some pretty big things that we've promised that we're getting into position to actually bring to fruition in the way of employee ownership. We're going to talk about that as well. So first of all, let's just get a little survey of where people are like right now, okay? In terms of August 2024, you are now one of the key participants in the Theodora program. Tell me a little bit about just how you see yourself today, Mary.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Michael. So, I would say in the last 4 years, for today, as at now, I will say I am at peace with myself, and because that is being in Theodora from the beginning. Even before that, I didn't know anything about business. I didn't have any knowledge about business. And I never thought my life will have a meaningful future at the end of the day. Being part of Theodora is like being in a business incubator. You are learning and growing at the same time. So at the end of the day, I know where my path is. I know where I'm heading towards. So that gives me the confidence and the belief that whatever I'm learning today is for the better of my future. And so that gives me peace of mind comparing to when I didn't know whatever my life was going, and I was always going through the struggle of what I will eat next, where my next rent will come from, and all that. That was not a peaceful moment because every day you are thinking, you are struggling. But right now, you know that at the end of the month, you are going to receive something like a salary that you know it's not that bad, because at the end of the day, you are not like thinking about where the money is coming from. You know, you are working for it. You see yourself worth of whatever you are bringing into that company. So that gives me peace of mind. And I am happy that I see myself in this position as I am today.
Thanks, Mary. And of course, I've had a chance to see, well, I've seen all of you from the very beginning, but for those who don't know, Mary was absolutely the number one person, the person we started with. She was the prototype upon which we prove that this concept could potentially work. So it's been a long journey. Benedicta, why don't you go next?
Thank you, Michael, and hi everyone. For me, I'd say that I would say I've seen a lot of improvements. Uh, I joined Theodora for 2 years now, and the past 2 years there've been some struggles, there've been some learning, and there've been a lot of growing. There've been a lot of I just excitement as well as terrors. I've been scared and everything, but right at this moment, I would say right this time, right now, I am seeing a better future, a brighter future, not just for myself, but for Theodora as a business, actually. And it gives me great joy in saying that, okay, if this can work for me, then it can work for other people out there. And right this moment, I'm just excited and to be presenting once again. It's like, oh, these people have been on this journey with me. They're not there, but they've heard of my journey with me. They've been there, they've heard it. And I'm sure they've understood, or to their own points, they've been able to see where I've been coming from. And today I'm standing right here and I'm talking about this right now. And I'm saying, yes, there've been improvements. Yes, I'm excited to see what the future holds. But right at this moment, as Mary said, the struggle of where is the next meal coming from? Where is the next rent coming from? Where is this coming from? How am I going to go through this week? Or how am I going to go through today? Those struggles are not there. It's like, okay, I know I'm working towards this, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I just need to keep focusing and working towards that. And I know at the end of the day, there is something always at the end there. So I've said right at this moment, I'm excited. I'm very happy. I have been able to be part of the Theodora project, and it's not been all fun and happiness and everything, because this is a business. There are times you kind of just get like really into it. There are times you get really happy. There are times you get sad, but still, I would say Theodora has been great. And me being here, my confidence level, my ability to speak to people, and like it's just emotionally, financially, Theodora has been great. And right now I'm at a place where I can gladly and boldly say yes. 2 years ago, I was a mess, but today, right this moment, I have something to look towards and I have something to look forward to.
Well, that's
Thank
awesome.
you, Michael.
Thanks, Benedicta. So, Anastasia, your thoughts, where you are today, right now.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, everyone. So compared to 2 years ago and now, I remember being like all over the places 2 years ago and not having shelter or food to eat or clothes to wear. And it was a whole lot of struggles, like my colleagues have said. It has not been easy. I mean, life isn't like a bed of roses. And finding myself into Chodora project has really, really helped me a whole lot, not just myself, but also for the business, because in every businesses there's always ups and downs, and you have to like have that courage to be able to stand for it, to push through, you know. And for today, I'm proud and to say I'm happy because I'm in a very better place right now. I'm peaceful with myself. At least I can sleep well and wake up and dress up and go to work, you know. And because 2 years ago, it wasn't easy because I mean, when you don't have shelter, roof over your head, you lack sleep, you lack peace, you're just all over the places. And when I found myself into Todora, it took me a whole lot of time to be able to mingle in, to be able to understand the business quite all right for me to be able to uh, join into the Todora mission, to be able to make the business work. But today, I'm happy because I have roof over my head and I can eat 3 square meal a day, and the business is moving forward. Though we're still pushing, but I mean, I'm in a place where I can beat my chest and say, yes, we are moving forward. We are progressing.
So, Anne, you sort of kind of slipped into the next question where, so when we were talking amongst ourselves of what we wanted to talk about. I wanted to really give people a picture of like where they are right now, because particularly, because we're focusing on Africa, because Theodora, is an Africa-based project, and because I've spent, quite a bit of time going around here, I don't think people, particularly in developed countries, really understand the challenges that people face when they don't have opportunities. All right. I was recently in the city of Kumasi just yesterday, and I was being taken around by a potential partner on us, and they were talking about the fact that people are spending, you know, uh, that all kinds of people are attracted to the city for economic opportunity, and then they go in and they're scrambling to find something, and they literally are paying by the day. So they might spend, what is it, 15 CD, I don't even know, like $1 or something, for a place to sleep. And then you got to pay, 30 cents to get a shower, and you got to pay some money, to get some light and do it. And every day you have to go out and struggle to find that money. So, and you related to this. I, I, I really want our audience who is in Africa to understand how much you have gone, how far you've come in not that long a period of time, to understand the power of programs like this. So, Anne, you started talking about this a little bit related to, you didn't have a place to stay, whatever. I mean, like how long was this going on for?
Okay. It took a whole long because when I joined the Tudora program, I was actually living with a friend of mine who actually gave me shelter, So I stayed with her, and before I joined Tudora project, and I also still stayed with her till I become more into like become a participant, become a virtual assistant in Tudora virtual Fedora Ghana virtual assistant. So it took me like a year plus maximum that I had to like stay with her to get acquainted with the whole
Yeah,
project
but
and
go
everything.
further back, and go further back. In other words, I want people to get an understanding that as you sit here now, and for those who don't know this, Anne does a lot of lead generation work for us. She represents us at virtual networking groups in the United States. She does email drip campaigns. But if we look back 5 years ago, all right, what was that life? What were you doing?
5 years ago, I was just roaming around the street like I had no hope. There was no hope. I just, anywhere I find myself, I call it my comfort zone. So I wasn't, 5 years ago, it was a whole lot of um, emotional trauma. I don't want to like start tearing out right now, but it
Right.
was a whole lot challenges, life challenges, both personal issues, both psychological issues. I was so depressed, a lot of depression stages was going on. I was just roaming around the street looking for help. There's no help because here in Africa, you're on your own. Hardly you will see a program like this that can really change your life because yeah, we do have such programs like this, but most of these programs actually will just maybe train people maybe to become a seamstress or to become a carpenter or whatsoever they want to learn in those skills, and they let them go. But in this case, 5 years ago, that I had nothing to write home about. I had no hope. I lost all hope. I was sick. I was depressed. I was a whole lot of a mess of myself. I couldn't face the crowd. I couldn't face my friends. I couldn't face my family because I was just, to me, let me use this word. To me, I was just useless. I just wanted to end it all. Like maybe I should just vanish into thin air. But after then, finding myself into the project has really given me an open eye that, okay, such program actually exists because it's difficult to believe that an NGO will actually train you and give you all these skills and still, while training you and still paying you, I mean, for you to have transportation to go back and forth and still for you to be able to feed yourself or something. It's difficult to have this in Africa, most part of the world in Africa, most part of the country in Africa, especially West Africa. But when I found myself in Chodora and the first check I got was really a wow to me, I still went home, I still thought about it. I was like, are you serious? Is there something that is not adding up or so? But as we keep going and learning every day, and the skills I never believed I could learn, the things I never believed I could learn, I'll get to know because I know nothing about businesses. I know nothing about computer and stuff like that. I know nothing about lead generation. I never knew anything about all this because it was like a child going up to school, and after school is like you're not passing through school, but school passing through you. And you forget about everything because of the situation that I was going through and the environment I found myself. But it's like Todora actually brought back all of those learning back to me, and keep reading books and still working hard, still learning. And the fact that I put it in my head and I always believe in it, like it is never too late to start all over again. Regardless, no matter who you are, it's never too late to start all over again. And you need to like deal with some of those demons that wants to like pull you back, not to like try, because there's some people you want to like help, but they don't want to help themselves. But I was in that position that I needed help and I needed to help myself. So as Chodora came into my life, I will put it that way, and I found myself into the project. I knew this people, this project is helping me, is gonna like help me a whole lot in the future. So I had to push in, I have to pull in, I have to make sure I learn to get to where I am today. I had to attend a meeting a few days ago where a question popped up, somebody who actually understands what it is to be into a non-profit organization, who actually has worked in Zimbabwe. And he was surprised that I could face such a crowd like that while I was confidently talking. And he asked the question, how come I mean, how come you're able to face this whole crowd? And I told him that if my CEO does not believe in me, that I can fill in for him in his absence, he wouldn't have sent me to fill in for him in that meeting. And I have gained my confidence because Theodora has really taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot, and I'm willing to learn more. So that is why I was able to like face the crowd. And because I remember the first time I attended that meeting, I was so scared while seeing people because I lacked confidence. But on a scale of 10, 1 to 10, I would say my confidence level right now is 9.8.
Well, that's pretty awesome. So, Mary, you and I, we go back from like day one, like even before day one with Theodora. So, for people who've been on our program before, Mary's been on every single presentation. Mary is our, sort of senior local manager. She's we joke that I keep giving her titles, but no more money, just more responsibility because that's the American way, right? But she currently is our head of business development. She handles all of our, literally anything related to selling. She does. She sells, she closes people, and now she's working as our client success manager once we close them, bringing them on board, et cetera. She's also a board member of the Rotary Club to End Human Trafficking. Um, so we have a person who is a business manager, okay? She is a thought leader in terms of direction of where the company should go, some of the things it should be do. She is a board member of a major nonprofit fighting anti-trafficking, or fighting trafficking, not fighting anti-trafficking, fighting trafficking. Um, but Mary, where were you before this all started? What was your situation?
Well, I would say before Theodora, when I had been on my own, right from time because my parents got divorced very early. And that caused us, the children, to struggle because now I had to face life on my own. And that was where the struggle started. And because I didn't have any better certificates to get any better job in Ghana, it was very difficult trying to find jobs and people taking advantage of you and losing hope that, okay, well, there's no hope because I mean, what better can I bring to the nation? Like, I don't have any skills, I don't have any knowledge. And I actually gave up, because it wasn't easy after going through all that and still getting pregnant, having a child, having to take care of the child when you have no job and all that. But at the end of the day, I had to fight forward. So I had taken myself through some training, trying to get something better for myself because I, I still can't just let things be like that. So I kept fighting forward to see what opportunity might be out there for me. And God being so good, that was where meeting Michael and Theodora program all coming in. I didn't really know that I would come this far because right from the beginning, I was doing it because I was getting paid. When Michael first hired me to be his assistant and following him around for meetings, taking notes that I didn't understand, I was just doing it because at least I was getting paid. I didn't have to go do some ungodly things to get money. So I was happy. But I was always actually resisting taking on bigger responsibilities. Like Michael was pushing me, but I was always, oh, I just like where I am. Don't push me too far. But as things kept going, some things you can't just resist. I mean, becoming a manager, all the titles Michael has mentioned being given to me, I found myself in that position. And it's about time that I started realizing that I'm deserving of it. I'm worthy of it because I have put in a lot of work indirectly when I wasn't actually looking that I am putting in this much of work. So everything coming back, taking on extra responsibilities, getting the work done, thinking bigger of Theodora, like when I sit down and I think back, most of the things I hardly don't mention because usually when I put something at behind me, I mean when it's my past, I don't usually like to go back to it because my past is a whole lot of trauma and I usually don't like to bring it up because I like where I am right now. I like the peace I have. I like the confidence I have right now, and anything that will make me remind the past, I don't really like it. So I would say that in general, I'm just grateful for this opportunity that was presented to me. Today, being a manager, I never thought that I would be able to even manage people because when I look back, I wasn't that person who could even relate to people. Like I didn't have any friends. Like I had zero connection with people. But I'm surprised today I'm able to stand in front of people, create that relationship, create that guidance, and people listen to me and look at me as their manager to direct them. This is all because if I was on my own, I wouldn't be able to learn all this and I wouldn't know where my future will go. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your digging back there. I know it's not pleasant, but as I said, we're talking to an audience. This is being specifically designed to look at Africa. I suspect there's going to be a lot of people who are looking at this who, at some level or whatever, are going through similar types of things. So we want them to think about what this program is, what this model is, et cetera. So Benedicta, your turn. You've spoken to us in the past about your horror shock about your first day at Theodora. Um, you know, um, just again, let's just give everybody some context. So from here, the next time we're going to talk about where we're going forward. So we've said, here's where we are right now. We're looking at where they've come from. Remembering I talked to you early in the beginning, like what we are. We're a business. We're making money. We use donation money as a sort of like venture capital to create this ongoing stream of benefit. So put your little marker there in the, the chart of where you were before what you said earlier today, this feeling of confidence and peace about where you are.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Okay, so um, well, it's been quite a journey from where I was to joining Theodora to getting here. Before Theodora, those were darker times. They were frustrating. There were a lot of times at that point where I actually decided like, okay, this is it. I do not see anything I'm holding on to. So no, I'm not doing this again. Like it was like one of those times where I gave up a lot. I gave up, I managed to pull through, and it kind of just like it became a process because before Theodora, I couldn't really get a job because I actually stopped at my senior high school and I did not have any other certificate apart from that. And without qualification I could not get a job that would pay well enough to even survive the month before you get your next pay. So they were hard times, like really hard times. And as Mary said, going back to those times is something that's like, it's painful. For me, it's painful, but looking at it, I feel like, okay, maybe that just prepared me for this. Because there are times when just to go through the day was a struggle because, okay, fine, what do I eat today? Okay, I do not have enough funds to give me enough food to eat today. So, okay, so do I skimp on my breakfast or do I skip on dinner or do I just wait and eat once a day? Or like, okay, fine, what should I eat? Should I eat breakfast or should I eat dinner so I can sleep well at night? So it was a struggle. And there are times where because I do not have a place to live and I live with people, the person you live in with gets upset and you hear, oh yeah, you know what? I don't want you around me right now. And so you just have to pack up again and just start looking for a different place to stay at. Like those kind of things gets to your self-esteem. It makes you feel less of yourself because, okay, this is a lady like me. She can afford a place. Now I'm living with her and she gets upset because of something I might have said or done. And the person tells you, you know what, just pack up and leave. This is my home. You can come to my home and do this. So situations like that, I was through a lot of that. I went through a lot of things like that. I remember one of my most vivid ones. I was living with a family and I left Accra to the Volta region to see my parents. And since it's not my place, I had to inform the person that, hey, I'll be getting back tomorrow. And she was like, oh, it's all fine. Yes, you can come. I got on the bus just for reassurance because I've been through that situation a lot. Just for reassurance, I called again and confirmed I'm on my way. I will be coming. And she was like, oh, it's fine. And I left Volta region. I got to Accra, about 45 minutes away from the house. I got a call, you know what, do not come to my house. That day was one of those times where I was on the bus heading to the house and she was like, yeah, do not come to my house. I really do not want you around right now. And I was frustrated. I was upset. I remember crying on the bus on a public transportation. I cried all the way through to where I was going to get off the bus because I felt frustrated. I felt inadequate. I just felt useless because I felt like, no, what am I doing? And after that incident, since it has been a recurring thing, after that incident, I was at a dark place and I did actually try to take my own life at that point. And I would say I'm really glad that did not succeed because that was like, yeah, I'm glad it did not. And with incidents like that, like it was horrible, right? Having no place to stay at times, just sleeping out on at one of my cousin's stores. She's a beautician. So when she closes up for the day, I kind of, you know what, just a couple of hours, I took a rest there, just trying to survive. Like, oh, I did not have food today. You know what? It's fine. I would go visit a friend. And like things like that. Like when you look through where I was before and looking at when I joined Theodora, God, that was like, okay. When I heard about the Theodora project, I really did not believe it actually. I felt like, oh, hell no, another one of those scams. But I felt like, okay, and at that point, I was really at a bad place. And I felt like, okay, what do I have to lose? I might as well just try it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, that's okay too. So I came there, I went through the interview process, and I'm like, okay, still not convinced. I got an email saying I've been taken in as one of the participants. I was still not convinced, even with the email and everything. I was like, yeah, fine, sure. And I showed up. The first day, it was May 2nd. And I showed up, and the first thing that happened was a check was handed to me by one of the ladies, one of my colleagues. And I was like, okay, are you really serious about this? And they're like, yeah, sure, that's your pay. And I'm like, okay, my pay for what exactly? And they're like, oh no, you're now a participant. You get paid twice a month. This is your first pay. I was so excited. I was like, just to confirm it, I took permission from Miriam, our manager, and I went to the bank just to be able to be sure I could withdraw that money. And when I got back, I was just so excited. And that was not just me. The other ladies that we got in together, everybody was like, yeah, we have to go to the bank. And I am sure they were all just skeptical about it as well, because like, okay, who does that? I am not doing it. I've not done anything. And the first thing you did on a Monday morning is to pay me for literally showing up. So I felt like, wow. I was like, just wow. And I would say that did encourage me. It encouraged me because I'm like, okay, fine. I have this. And if I work towards more, I can get more. I can do more. So it kind of gave me this boost of confidence, and having that cash on me that day was one of the most exciting things for me, because I felt like, okay, I have something to hold on to. I have something. So I was not frustrated. I'm like, okay, great. I know the road will be hard going to and from work, fine, but I would hold on to this because this is paying me. With this, I do not have to worry where my next meal is coming from. And I get the opportunity to learn, and I met a lot of great people in the project. And it's just like, same where I was before I joined Theodora. When I joined Theodora newly, I had my struggles. As Anastasia said, learning everything afresh because I've been out of school for a while. I was really just trying to survive. I did not have that much time to go learn something new at that point. But getting to Theodora project, I had the opportunity to learn and to grow with my colleagues. And if there is something I do not get, I can talk to them about it. And today I can boldly say, okay, I am contented compared to where I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I can say, yes, today I have hope. I have hope for a better future. I have hope for a brighter future. And I do not have to worry about every single thing every day, like, okay, what do I do now? So yes, it's been a struggle before. Joining has been a struggle. Has its own struggles, but I would say I choose the struggle, and I'm happy with the struggle because I know this struggle will bear me better fruits. So yes.
Yeah. Very, very true. You know, we go through life, and no matter where we are in life, no matter how much we have, there's always different challenges, etc. But it's good to really reflect on what we do. Now, I specifically wanted the ladies to bring these themes up, okay, because of the audience we're talking to, because of the nature of our program. So again, let's just create this picture, all right? These three ladies and their colleagues doing business in the United States every day, coming in the office, having their meetings, okay, doing lead generation, populating CRMs. Benedicta is probably one of our top virtual assistants. She gets some of the most complicated clients. All right, clients who have multiple things. She has one client, I don't even know what Yuka gives you all, to be honest with you. You know, she runs like 4 or 5 major aspects of his business. All right, because the client has so much confidence in what Benedicta can do for them. And yet, literally 2 years ago, all right, she's coming off of, I don't know where I'm going to sleep. I don't know if I have enough food, even for a meal. Okay. I haven't done any kind of learning, all right, in years and years. So when we build a program that starts out by saying, like, I know what we want to sell, I know where we're going to go with that service, right? I know what that marketplace is. In this case, it was myself being in the United States, understanding the small business and small professional market, understanding the holes that were there that were not being filled by virtual assistants in India and in the Philippines, et cetera. We were able to create a very specific pathway, a very specific training program, a very specific behavior modification program. Benedicta in an earlier one talked about the shock of being told, like, you're not in Ghana anymore. You're in the United States, or here's how we want you to behave. All right. That type of thing. And the results, you sit here, these incredibly articulate women who have great professional capabilities are doing so much. Benedicta is also the head of the West Africa branch of the Rotary Club to End Human Trafficking. So they're not just working, they're also giving back, all in this incredibly short period of time. So where are we going from here? Where is this going? Well, obviously, we're continuing to grow our business. We're doing some major investments in our marketing and sales to get lead gen up, et cetera, get more volume, produce more income to give them a better life, et cetera. But one of the big things that I talked to them from day one, which everybody I think at the time said, What are you talking about? We have no idea. Of course, that they say that about a lot of what I say, is ownership, employee ownership. So I believe very strongly that for social impact benefit and for getting the greatest good to the greatest number, that we need to spread the benefits of ownership broadly. That just having one person be the owner of a business and they take all of the profit, that's not going to create the social change we're looking for. So we've had a lot of conversations about this. We were briefing about this beforehand, and that actually we are, in fact, I have a meeting today with my number one Rotary partner here in Ghana who is helping us draw up the Employee Ownership Trust. That's going to be the vehicle that we're going to use. We're hoping to close by the end of the year and have this in place. So tell me, ladies, Anastasia, we'll start with you. What does it feel like? I mean, what do you think about this whole thing? Like, employee ownership and yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I feel like it's like more responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
So when you're running your own business, you have to
Mm-hmm.
take full charge and be involved in every detailed activities that goes in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Though when you brought it up, I got scared a little bit, so I took it my time, I pondered over it, and I'm like, okay, if I could run a business way back years ago, even though it was very little, and I knew how actually handle it, even though we ran out of capital and it goes to that point that I couldn't help it anymore because the sources where those resources were supposed to be coming from wasn't working. But I proud of myself that I actually tried my best to try to work it out until it slipped out of my fingers. But in Teodora, that employee ownership has really, so when I talked about it, I was like, okay, I was worried before, but right now I'm not worried anymore because it's something that I know we can do it. And having that ownership attitude, it's like you waking up in the morning, running your own company, running your own business. So it is how you handle yours or you handle someone else's businesses that yours will be handled. So if I am handling this right now, like it's mine, that's the ownership attitude that I've put in on, the ownership attitude jacket that I've put in on. So I'm ready to like stand in and out and see where this whole we all lead us to.
All right. So I'm going to have to get the ownership jacket, Theodore
Yes,
ownership jacket for everybody.
ownership jacket.
Mary, talk to me. Being an owner.
Okay, so being um an owner, I mean, being part of Theodora from day one, Michael started talking about it's going to be the participants' own, like they are going to be the owners. I believe at that time, that is also one thing that pushed us to actually put in the work, because knowing the fact that this is going to be my own at the end of the day, I'm putting in the work. I'm not just an employee that I have to kill myself for this company, and when they blow, they are going to sack me and bring on new people, but rather I'm growing into this company, and when the company blow, I'm going to get a big part of it. So being comparing the ownership and the employee, I think that was a good plan, a good thought from the beginning, because mostly Africans, I would say Ghanaians, like mostly usually don't have that time to wait for something to actually become big. Like they try on this for a little while and then they move on to the next one. So imagine I was just an employee and we had started this, and I mean in the beginning it was going well, the money was coming in, but all of a sudden we became a registered company and we started paying tax, bills, everything, so many stuff for the government. And then as a business, we started having challenges and all that. So being an employee, I would like, okay, we are going down. I've enjoyed my time. I can just leave and go. But then having the idea that, oh, I'm an owner. So if I stand and make this work, at the end of the day, I'm going to enjoy it. That gives people that energy, that vim to actually go forth and do more. So I would say that that was a good thought, even though it's not for everybody, because not everybody wants to be an owner of something. Some people just want to be a part of it and then go when it flops, and they don't want to be taking on those kind of responsibilities and all that. But in Theodora, because of that idea or that knowledge that we are owners, it gives us that people are taking on extra responsibilities. I mean, people don't wait around for things to be told to them before they do it. Everybody's learning new things, like, because you know that at the end of the day, you have to contribute your part. So I won't sit down and wait that, okay, since I came and they taught me only Excel, that is the only Excel I'm going to use. But then I'm trying to find out more software. Where can I get the next knowledge that I will also be looked as, oh, you have grown, you have actually acquired more knowledge. So let's give you more responsibilities. So that ownership attitude is what makes people pushing more. We've had people come in and go. I mean, from the beginning, the number of people we started with are not the same people that are here today. That is to tell you that when the challenges came, people couldn't stand it, they left. That's to tell you that the people who are here today have embraced the fact that I am owner of this program. And so I am going to stand the challenges. I'm going to do my best to make it work. So Theodora being a participant ownership, I would say is the best thing that could happen to us, because as we are putting in the work, even if we don't get any benefits now, we know that in the future we are going to get the benefit. The
Thank you,
end.
Mary. So, Benedicta, got anything to add? We're coming. We've got about 10 minutes. So, as you predicted, Mary, we had a lot to talk about. We've really run through the time, which is good. All right. But I want to make sure we cover everything. Anything to add to what they've got, Benedicta?
Okay, for me, I would say when I joined and you made mention of the employee ownership, it was scary, right? It's like, oh, I do not know anything about business. I do not know anything about this. What am I doing here? Like, how am I going to do this? And but with time, I realized that, okay, even if I can't do it right now, I can learn. There's nothing wrong with learning. I have all the time. I have work, fine. I would just reschedule my things and learn and try to be an owner as much as I can. But it's been helping. Like, okay, I help, I learn, and I see, okay, I make mistakes and I learn from it. I would say it was scary, but it's a good thing because the way Mary said, it did encourage some of us, the ladies to go like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. If it's mine, I would put in the efforts. Yeah, so I believe since it's us, we kind of like put in more effort, the opportunity to learn more things. And no matter how tired we are, at the end of the day, we still keep going, okay, this is mine. I need to make it work. So yeah, that's all I have. And on that note, actually, as I said earlier, the ownership is all great and everything, but like what gave you the idea, what brought on that thought of making the participants own it? Like, okay,
Mhm.
what was Michael thinking when he decided participants to own this?
Well, Benedict, there were kind of two things that kind of put right. One of them, as I said, like, I've worked with business owners my whole career, all right? And I know there's always this divide between the owners and the workers, all right? And I knew that this was going to be a real challenge, and that if we didn't get some sort of buy-in by people, the chances of people going through all the kind of hardships and everything that you have to go through. And just to give you an example of how these ladies have adopted ownership thinking, we went through a bit of a challenge about 18 months ago where, we were not retaining clients. We were basically not covering our overhead. And it was like, well, where are we? And we were not getting any more donations. So we really had to cut expenses. And I went to the team and I said, I want you guys to figure out what we're going to do. Are we going to fire some people? What are we going to do? And they came back and with a plan to try to reduce salaries above across the board. And we've been sort of inching our way back, and we're getting really close to the point where we can get everybody back to where they were. But they made the decision. They thought it through. Okay. And that's ownership thinking. So getting the get you know getting a team that's all bought in, I thought was very, very important. The other one was very selfish, okay? And that is that I am not young. Okay, I started this thing and I was already in my 70s, and it was like I don't have 20 years, okay, to put to this project. And I don't know who the next person is who's going to come and, do this particular thing. So I've got to make sure that, all right, it's going to go, it's going to continue on because this is something we talk about in the Rotary Club and Human Trafficking, where we have our own economic development initiative. Um, Real economic development doesn't happen in 3 to 5 years. It happens over 20 or 40 years. Okay, we want to be sitting here and looking at these three women as the senior executives, or maybe they've gone on and done a business and they still have an interest in this and whatever, and they're on the board and they're saying like, oh, we've got 1,000 women, right, who are working here and who are doing this, etc. It's only going to happen if that entrepreneurial energy, that drive, that vision, that everything belongs to you, Benedicta, and you, Anastasia, and to you, Mary. All right. And so that's why I did. In fact, we've got something scheduled later today after we do this recording where we're going to start doing some visioning of what the future looks like and what do we want in terms of, what does it take to become, one of the employee owners, et cetera. So it's really going to get serious. So with the time that we have left, okay, um, I'd just like you to share something because you guys have all talked about various things you've had that this whole part about working with people in another country, okay, at one point, very terrifying, but at another point is very rewarding. So Benedict, I want to start with you first, okay? Like, what's the best experience you've had as far as one of the people you've worked with in the United States?
Well, I've had a couple of great experiences as well as bad experiences. But one of my best experiences will be with one of my clients. He's actually a financial advisor, and he's like a big brother to me, actually. When I remembered my first meeting with him, I was terrified. I was so terrified, I just couldn't even share screen. It was just so frustrating. But that was 2 years ago, and now I got a big brother in him. It's just so funny that most of the time when we go on meetings, before we even start what I was supposed to talk about or whatever work I have to do for him, he kind of just asked me, okay, so what's your financial plan? So I'm like, oh, sure, great. Now we have to talk about my financial plan. So he's been such a great person to me that he did tell me like, oh, I charge by the hour and I charge a lot. People pay me a lot to listen to me talk. So you are lucky to listen to me talk. I pay you and you still have to listen to me talk. So it's kind of fun. And he's been teaching me how to manage my finances and like trying to get a place. We kind of came up with like this whole budget. Okay, this is what you need, this is what you do not need. And it got to a point, he manages my finances so much that I got to, I was like, okay, now he's doing too much. And that's a person like, okay, I don't care how much CD you want to spend, you have to confirm you need that. I remembered one day I was going to get something and I got to the store, I got what I wanted and I wanted something else. And I'm like, no, that is going to get pissed if you know I spent this money. So I went up on my phone and I sent him a WhatsApp and I'm like, a WhatsApp message and I was like, I think I want to buy this, but I'm not sure. And I was like, fine, then go home. It was like, okay. It's like, it was just so funny. And going from being all scared about working with this person to this person giving me like advising me on what to do to get a better future of myself, to make something better out of myself. It's great. And he's like, we built this relationship where when he has an issue or something, he just wants someone to listen or talk to. When we go on a meeting, we do that. So like, it's not just work. Yes, we do work, but we kind of had this like interpersonal relationship where we can talk to each other about what is bothering us, like everything. And when I have an issue, I can talk to him about it. And with his wealth of experiences, he can like, okay, you can do it better like this next time. And it's just so great. Like I know I do not just have a client, I have a big brother, someone when I have an issue, I can go all out and tell everything and it will just point me in the right direction. Most of the time, those directions are the ones I do not want to go because no, I do not want to do the right thing. But just like a big brother, he goes like, yes, you have to do it, whether you like it or not. That's how this life works. And it's just so great to have that with someone I work with. So we've kind of just built like this great system where, okay, work, but still like we're more like a family than just like, okay, this person, I work for this person pays me. So it's great. So it's like, okay, in Theodora, we are a family, our clients are families. So it's just so wonderful. And it's been a great experience. Like, okay, we do not have much time, so I'll just like pass it next to Anastasia to go on from there. I'm sure she has like this
Yeah, we've got
great
about
experience. She'd like
4 minutes, I think, left. Anne, just really quickly.
I mean, it's Stephanie Sheraton, and she was the first person I started working with as, doing this email campaign and code email. I didn't really know what we're all about then, but we got to a point right now that we have this relationship. It's not just a client kind of relationship. We call each other bestie, and the way we end up our meetings all the time, like, hi, usually you don't do that, but having that connection and that relationship with her, and she knew how and she knows how I'm quite very interested in her business and want her to be successful and getting more clients, makes me very happy. Whenever she shared that news with me and say, hey, out of the cold emails we sent, we got this positive response, and I'm having a meeting with this person and we're having a shoot. And so it makes me feel happy. I don't want to go too much details because I actually have two questions to ask you, Michael, before we round up. May I?
Okay.
Okay, one of the questions I want to ask is that what inspired you to come up with this Chodora project? That's number one. The number two is, where do you see Chodora in the nearest future? Let's just say give it to 5 to 10 years.
Okay. What inspired me to do it? I don't know what inspired. I always feel that, seriously, I feel Theodora chose me. I didn't choose Theodora. Mary and I have taught at length about, being introduced to each other. I had no idea what Mary's background was. All I wanted to do was help Mary, and I came up with this idea. Mary, of course, thought I was, we use the euphemism here of throwing people under the bus, because we've never, in spite of all the money we've had, we haven't had that much in the way of resources. It's always been, so it's kind of a lot of learning by doing. So, we could, Mary could show all the bus marks, over her. Like, oh, sure, Mary, you could go into this meeting. Sure, Mary, you could go do this. Sure, you could do MailChimp for somebody. Mary's, I'm sorry, I still remember some of the looks she would give me. Like, you are freaking crazy. Um, so honestly, and this has been something sort of like a calling, like it called to me. I didn't choose it. But where are we going? That's a different story. Because what we have now shown, and it's through a lot of work, is a model for how to set up a virtual services business, sourcing in an underdeveloped countries like Africa for the talent, but selling in the United States. So we have really refined this to we know where, you find a marketplace, you get the angel people who can tell you what you need to do, train and do whatever. You develop the training course. You find people in the area who can help you recruit, develop, put together the resources you have for a training program. We know the kind of behavior modification stuff they have to do. We know how to bill. We know how to collect. We know how to set up the legal organization to pay. And we are, in fact, in a very, very early conversation with an organization in Kumasi, the Muslim Family Counseling Service, to potentially do yet another program around bookkeeping services. So the future, number one, Theodora Ghana Virtual Assistant to continue to grow, hopefully get the resources that we can expand to the level that we know we can, but also to take this knowledge and to provide it to other folks who want to try to do virtual work as a way of lifting up the disadvantaged and to provide economic development for their countries. So that's a great place for our start. Just to start, I want to thank Mary. I want to thank Anastasia. I want to thank Benedicta. Every time I say, we've got to do another VCX program, they're always so happy and excited. Actually, they probably say, Michael, again? And it's like, yes, again. So, Ram, Deb, thank you so much again for this. We hope I don't know where you'll have your next program, but hopefully we'll be a part of that. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.